Hi, my name is Darren from HJ Tax, and we're the team that seeks to demystify that sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today we want to approach it a bit differently. Rather than just get into a really deep technical discussion about some tax topics, I want to recognize that the tax tail doesn't necessarily wag the dog. And we have the honor and the privilege of having a conversation with David. And David has a lot of expertise with working with business owners who are doing things internationally. David, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is David Deaton. I'm a co-founder with my colleague Ann Thompson, and we have started MindSalt 8 more years ago. Over the last 30 years, I've been working with organizations on the research and decision making and strategy within a variety of different contexts and sizes. So both internationally, for which I have some experience in, but then also in just a variety of sizes of organizations as well. $3 billion revenue organizations down to our local businesses, for which we have a lot of passion and heart for.
Okay, fantastic. The scaling of business, you've done it, you've helped so many people do it. What are your thoughts, what are your comments? What is your message on that, scaling a business?
For sure. And that really can change based on whether we're talking about an entrepreneurial context or whether we're talking about, let's call it like more like a startup
Yeah.
context, if you will. And what I mean is that the key and the hardest element of all this is time.
Mm,
The time it takes to scale a business
yeah.
is much longer than most people think. I mean, there's time and there's the couple components with that. There's the hard work that goes into that time. It's not going to be a sprint of hard work. It's going to be years of hard work. But it's that time of, oh my gosh, this does take so much. And then that money that it takes to do that over that time horizon. If we're talking about a long period of time, that means you have to have the resources to do that. The reason I delineated between, and it wasn't a clean delineation, but
Mhm.
entrepreneurial and startup, there are organizations who self-fund their scalability, which we have and which we're continuing to do. And that means it's going to take us longer. What we do when we raise capital is essentially speed up that time frame. And
Mm,
so I can take on more capital. I have to take on investors, but I can actually accelerate or compress the time for which I get to a scalable and I can create a higher return. I can take that return and I can distribute it to my investors as well. And so that's really what's happening when we think about scalability is that for sure it's going to take time, which means money, which means you can either take on that time if you're willing to sort of self do that, or you're going to go out and seek capital in order to sort of compress or accelerate that time frame. But then you have sort of other things that you have to consider, such as investors and so forth. You can't get around wrestling with this time equation because that is absolutely certain. The time it takes, the hard work that it takes, the iteration that it takes, trial and error in a scalable environment is the formula. It is not the blemish. It is what you do. And that can be very uncomfortable sometimes to say we're going to put stuff out and it's going to fail. But that actually is part of the process of scaling. It's that hyper learning through doing, creating something that is devoid of your individual effort, but actually built on something that is actually unique to you. Just to connect that up with something that we talked about previously, those
right.
unique assets that you have as an organization, and there's usually about four or five that you can even begin
Mhm.
to investigate and then cultivate. That's how you scale. And if you don't have a good sense of what those are, we have a good sense of the categories and where to investigate. But at every organization, it looks different. And some of them are sort of malformed. They need to be cultivated and grown before they can even be expressed in a scalable solution. If you don't have a sense of that and you're not on that journey to think about it, you're not going to get there. And really thinking about those areas and then thinking how you can actually scale it beyond yourself is the way to approach it. When you scale, you
Mhm.
maximize your impact.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think about scaling from profitability standpoint. And and sure, that can be true. But the
Yeah.
truth is that when you scale, it means you're able to affect more individuals. And if you believe in the things that you're doing and the positive effect that it's happening, the
Mhm.
value that's created, the how it advances our society, how it advances our communities forward, you want to scale because you want more people to benefit from that. When
Mhm.
you are not scaling, or at least to some degree. It doesn't have to be the next Apple or next Micro, whatever. But if you're not
Mhm.
scaling to some degree, it's somewhat selfish. It means, hey,
Yeah.
I'm making a lot of money. I've got a small set of portfolio and clients that I'm working with. I'm happy and I'm doing lots of good things, but I don't
Mhm.
need to benefit a lot more people. And when we put it into the context of how can I really help more businesses? Because inside those businesses are people working so hard. They're trying to pay for their kids' school. They're trying to make a difference in their communities. And we want those businesses to be enduring over time because it's not just about making that business successful. It's about making all the people that work there have the lives for which they want to live. And that is something worthy of fighting for. And it's something worthy of creating impact for. And it's worthy of then our attention to say, how can I get a little bit more lift beyond just me and have a little bit more impact and a little bit more scalability than I thought? Because that's the way in which I'm going to move people forward in a positive direction.
Maximizing impact, changing the world, David. That's
I'm
amazing.
trying.
Thank you. So, David, if someone wanted to reach out to you and to find out more about you and your team and perhaps engage your services, what's the best way to do that? How can they best find you?
Yeah, wonderful. Both through our website and LinkedIn. So the website would be themindsalt.com. I'm happy to reach out. You can actually set up a meeting straight from the website as well. Or LinkedIn, just find my name, David Deaton, with the organization, The Mind Salt. We have a company page, I have my personal page, and respond to messages and really look forward to people making that connection and reaching out.
Fantastic. Thank you.